This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada, because going big never goes out of style. Learn more at nissanusa.com.
Here we go.
Hi, Pashi.
Hi, Sophie.
You know, mouth and ears get a lot of attention in the podcast world because they're kind of the money makers.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about eyes for a second?
Sure.
So I've crossed the threshold into needing reading glasses.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be one of those things where I'd just use them here and there.
Uh-huh.
So my question to you is, what do you think is easier to use one time? Reading glasses or crack cocaine? Because I think I could do crack once and walk away from it. But now,
Yeah.
I think by the fifth time I use reading glasses, now I can't see anything. Everything looks like it's a million miles away.
I don't generally like slippery slope arguments. But man, oh man, that's the case with glasses. Because you just realize right away, like, oh, I can see so much better.
Right. And so what is I don't know, what are you trying to prove, right?
Right.
So, part of me is like, I don't need you. Me and these two peepers have been fine for years. And it's just a mess. But of course, the other thing is, and I'm asking because you've been in the game longer than me, at what point do you just get better at not losing them every 2 days?
Ooh, not yet for me.
Okay, so you're still losing. That makes me feel a little better. As you notice, I've got them here.
Yeah.
I've started doing that a lot.
Yeah. If there's a sponsor out there, if someone knows how to keep glasses clean, then come on.
We'd love
come on board.
Glass cleaners.
I've got all these spritzes. I got all these little towels, these little, those soft microfiber, whatever. I got all the right gear, and nothing.
That makes me feel better because I just assumed mine were super smudgy because of old, grease fingers. Jones over here.
Yeah. It was always going to be the way for you, but yeah.
Because the crazy thing is, Axel got glasses when he was basically 3 years old. And I just went into this white hot panic of, oh my God, the entirety of my life is going to be looking for his glasses. But I think when a kid gets glasses at that age, he never loses his glasses. I mean, he breaks them.
Mm-hmm.
But he never loses them because they're just such an important part. They're just like an extension of him at this point. And so that has been a relief.
Yeah.
Do you think Dad, based on every story Mom tells us, do you think Dad is good at knowing where his glasses
are? No, but I wonder if he I wonder how angry he gets when he can't find them.
I'm sure he's chill. What was was it Clash of the Titans where it was the three witches who were like, give me the eye, because they only had one eye between them? That's kind of how Mom and Dad are at a restaurant.
Yeah. The Gray sisters, I believe they were.
Oh, nice pull. Yeah. This is, if any listeners have stayed through the reading glasses segment of the show, I'm excited to tell you that it's a listener episode.
Yeah.
And we have stories from you. We have questions from you. And we're going to turn it over to the essential Sam, who is going to start loading them into the hopper.
Oh, and real quick, I mean, maybe we cut this out, but I talked to Dad yesterday.
Oh, great.
And you know what he wants out of the listener stories?
Oh, God. He has notes for listeners.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. Now, that is basically this is just to establish what we know that our dad doesn't. This would be like if you walked into a grocery store, someone stood there and said, here's what we need from you.
Yeah.
Before you do your shopping experience. I think Dad has maybe forgotten that the listeners are, in many ways, the customer.
Yeah.
Who is historically always right.
Right.
As the saying goes.
Yeah, it could be argued.
Okay. What does Dad want from them?
He wants them to have better stories.
Well, yeah. I mean, the man is to the point.
Yeah.
He's pretty succinct.
Yeah.
I mean, so we should make it clear that the people we're going to listen to today have not received that incredibly constructive note.
Yeah.
So the next round, we'll be able to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just have better stories. I mean,
I didn't like that one. Yeah. I think they need to have better stories.
Yeah. Like dad goes to a basketball game when they get somebody from the stands to try to get a half-court shot.
Yeah.
It's like, they should try
he
to
missed
get
by
a
a
guy.
mile.
I mean, it was like he'd never even played basketball professionally. All right,
He's wearing jeans.
Oh, yeah. He would not be happy if somebody was wearing jeans. Well, that's a real dad for you. I think that hopefully at least informs what our childhood was like. Do better.
Your friends could be cooler.
Yeah.
You know what your friends need? They need to be a bit cooler.
But when I took Axel back to New Hampshire, once again, hung out with my childhood friends who were just thick as thieves with mom and dad.
Oh, yeah. Our friends were cool enough. That's not a legit Larry Meyers ding on our pals.
But our friends are so cool that mom and dad and Hendu and Bubba. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had friends growing up whose nicknames were Hendu and Bubba. Hendu and Bubba and mom and dad just fully started talking about people I've never met.
Oh, yeah.
And here I am with my son, who I've, flown for the purposes of meeting them.
Yeah.
And they're like, he just opened a new car dealership in Franconia. I'm like, what is this? Why are we talking about this?
Because they have a frame of reference.
I was distracted. I was distracted because there was a basket of rolls, and Axel was taking one bite out of every roll. So I was trying to fend that off.
All right, let's get into it now.
Let's get into it.
Hi, guys. My name's Michelle, and we love the show. I come from a Core 4 family from Virginia, and my dad was working in Texas. His project ran way longer than expected, so my mom, who loves a road trip, decided to drive us to see him. My older brother was probably around 5 or 6, and I was around 4 years old. She would wake us up early and drive until about midday and would use her AAA triptik to find a cute town, grab lunch or groceries for a picnic, and ask a mom at the store where to find a nice playground. She'd take us, let us play and eat lunch, and then after lunch she'd drive a few more hours and find a roadside motel with a pool to spend the night at. So we were probably on day 3 of our trip, somewhere way down south. She pulled off the highway and was looking for a grocery store and drove past the most beautiful park with a huge playground, slides, swings, big sand pit with toys in it, big grassy area with picnic tables and lots of shade, and families already there picnicking on blankets and playing ball, all enclosed by a beautiful decorative wrought iron fence. So my mom thought, perfect, great park, and other kids to play with, and we couldn't run off. So she found a store, grabbed us lunch, but didn't ask anybody about the park because she already found it. My mom drove through a gate behind another family, and she said it was right behind a station wagon that had the kids facing the back waving at us. We parked next to them, and as I was the youngest, I ran off and grabbed the last swing. My older brother, always more responsible, helped my mom grab our food when a police car came right behind her with the lights on. The policeman jumped out of the car and said, "Ma'am, you have to leave right now. You cannot be here." My mom looked around at all the cars and families and full picnic benches and thought, well, maybe he wants us to leave because we have out-of-state Virginia plates. So she tried to tell the officer we wouldn't be there long. But then the officer explained that when we drove through the gate, we didn't stop at a checkpoint. And then once through the gate, we had entered a maximum security state prison. And today was family visit day. At that point, my mom looked around and saw that with each family group was a man in a bright orange suit. She immediately looked around for me and saw me on the swing, yelling at one of the men in the orange suits to push me higher, and he obliged. My mom looked at my brother, told me to go get me, tell me that the park was full and we had to find another one, and we went on our way. My mom was so proud to tell us this story years later about the day she took us to jail. Anyway, thanks for all the stories, guys.
It's so funny when someone tells you you're in a prison and you look around, and it's the opposite of the end of Usual Suspects, where it's all stuff you shouldn't have noticed until the story is told. But this is all the fact that it was a family and every adult male was wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Well, orange is such a happy color. It's such a
the jumpsuit though I feel like is also
yeah.
Also, everyone had a cake with a nail file baked inside it.
I mean, it must be a rarity for like a playground to be attached to a prison that looks like a perfect, idyllic spot for a picnic.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they all have something like that, but this really sounds like it was, you know.
The fact also that it was you could just drive through the checkpoint. I feel like this might be a prison that had a lot of escapes over the years. If it was just like one poorly attended checkpoint. That is a very good story to tell your kids, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my kids, if I could tell them that story now, I would imagine when you first retold the story to your kids, like 1,000 follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What was the man who pushed me on the swing? What was he in for?
Yeah. I mean, I just for fun, I would definitely be like, it was mostly kidnappers.
Some murderers.
It was sort of the federal kidnapping prison. But it was all kid crimes. Anyway, I'm sorry I brought you guys there.
I do also just love the little detail of the AAA triptych.
So the triptych, I think for, people who don't remember, Mom would do a triptych.
Yeah.
Have you done a trip? So the triptych used to be you would basically tell AAA where you were going, and they would mail you a map.
Yeah.
That would it was sort of a long rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
And you would flip it open, and it would have basically like your route on it. It was like a MapQuest before MapQuest.
Yeah, like maybe suggested hotels and whatnot and things, ideas of things to do along your way.
I think you can do it now and get it on your phone. So if you're still a AAA person, they're doing triptych, and it's a nice way to have it on your phone. Although I think we all have maps on our phone, but maybe they do add those other things of like, these are good hotels. This is a playground not attached to a jail.
Yeah.
There's always, and they have like nice little, what are they, just little icons to help you know. Like there's a gas station thing, and then sometimes there'll be a tree for a park, and then there'll be a tree behind bars, and that's a playground at a prison.
Yeah. Or prison forest, if it's a tree behind bars.
I'm going to admit something when, because of course a triptych is also like a piece of art that's like 3 panels.
Yeah.
And I sort of always thought there was something about the AAA map that there were only 3 of them. Like they would plan your entire trip and put it on 3 pieces of paper. But it turns out the trip in this case does not refer to triple, as I understand it, or it does refer to the triple and AAA. But it's basically just this is a trip,
right?
And this is your ticket.
Yeah, it does double duty. Double duty. Word trip and the AAA triptych.
Did you ever have to use Dad's AAA card?
No.
You know my story.
Yeah.
Have I ever told my story on the podcast?
I don't know, but it's this one's legit good.
I am going to try to tell it fast because now Dad's in my head. But long story short, I was driving back from Vegas, and our friend John Rosenfeld, Pep Rosenfeld, I should say. It was his car that he left in L.A. And this is before pre-SNL when we were just like barely eking out an existence as young actors. Yeah. And something happened to the car that felt like very final.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like this was a fixable moment. This felt like
you were in Baker or Bakersfield?
Baker, California.
Yeah.
Which was a real, like the beginning of a film noir.
Mm-hmm.
This is the town where when your car breaks in Baker, you're about to like meet a beautiful woman who's got like in a bad situation.
Yeah.
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 This movie, by the way, is not as good as the movie that starts when a mother drives her children into a kidnapper's prison. So, anyway, I guess I had a cell phone. I called Dad, and he said, here's my AAA number, but you have to tell them you're me.
Right. Dad trying to game the system.
Yeah.
To help his son.
Tell my son. And so a pickup truck came, and I got in the cab with the guy because he had to tow me. And he said, wait, what's your name? And I said, Larry. And then he looked at the card, and then he looked back at me and said, your name's Larry? And I panicked. And I said, no, my name's Seth.
Uh-huh.
my dad's name is Larry. And he said, I asked you what your name was. And I was like, oh, my nickname is Larry. I was just very quiet. And again, very quiet in the beginning. And this is why in a film noir, based on how quick I think on my feet, I would not live past Act 1.
Yeah, no, you would hear a gunshot noise, and then you would see you laying askew on the ground.
Yeah, they would steal my belt.
Yeah, and so did you have to pay for that tow? Like,
I think I paid for that tow, and then I also the car was fully dead. And I remember Pep, our friend Pep, lived in Amsterdam, and I got in touch with him, and he basically said, "Let it go."
Yeah,
I've left the States. I live in Amsterdam now.
Yeah, good
advice. And I think maybe they paid me enough for the parts of the car to cover the tow.
Mm-hmm.
So I maybe broke even there. But then I took a bus, and I will say nothing sadder. I remember maybe Ike picked me up at the bus station.
Yeah, Ike and Stassen, or maybe just Ike. But yeah.
But it was like, I remember getting in the car and be like, I'm going to make it in Los Angeles, California.
Because didn't you also have to put all your stuff into trash bags from the car?
Yeah, right. Because of course, anybody who knows me knows that I do not keep a clean car. So I basically had my existence, and I didn't have a suitcase. And so the guy at the towing place gave me two hefty bags. So I showed up at a bus station with 2 hefty bags. And Ike and Stassen were as happy as they've ever been with. I like the visual of how bad showbiz was going for me is getting off at a bus station with two trash bags full of.
Yeah.
They're like, let me guess. Do you want us to drop you off at the Paramount lot? All right, so let's say you and I have to decide now after every story. I think Dad will be fine with that story.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan.
Hey, Sufi.
Yeah, Pashy.
What's that thing I always say about going big and it never going out of style?
Oh, I remember. Going big never goes out of style.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why we at Family Trips love partnering with Nissan, because they know that going big never goes out of style, especially when it comes to the 2025 Nissan lineup.
And the Nissan vehicle we want to give a huge shout out to today, the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X.
Sufi, what's that thing I always say about the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X?
Pashy, you always say that no terrain is too tough for the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. It's the most capable Armada ever built.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like your catchphrase.
Yeah, I'm known for saying that, and how could I not? With a new powerful engine, incredible towing capacity, and adventure-ready technology, this is the first Armada to earn the Pro 4X badge.
It's built for the most rugged of terrain thanks to the fact that it's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, which means it's ready to give you the freedom to explore further and to propel your adventures to new heights.
And my favorite part? The Armada's premium interior seats up to 8 passengers. That means we can bring our 6 best friends with us on our next adventure. Let's name them right now.
And we're out of time. So thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode of Family Trips. Explore further with the Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. The support comes from DeleteMe. Hi, Pashy.
Hi, Sufi.
You know, we've been talking with Mom and Dad. Sometimes when Dad is listening to the podcast and he hears a sponsor we've had on before, he wants to skip because he thinks it's the same ad. So I'm just doing this preamble to let Dad know that it's going to be a different read every time.
Yeah. There's going to be some similarities, but certainly some variation.
Right. We're going to talk about what's great about DeleteMe again. Like, we're not going to change that because DeleteMe, every time we discuss them, they're always a company that makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Dad, whose devices are vulnerable.
Oh, my God. The vulnerability of Dad's. Although, you know what's not vulnerable?
What's that?
Dad's guesses. Dad does his work in a notebook for the New York Times spelling bee.
Oh, yeah.
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 If somebody ever finds that ledger, they're going to be like, it must be code. And someone's going to be like, I think it might just be guesses for the spelling bee. Anyway, vulnerable devices. Take it away, Josh.
Well, DeleteMe knows that your privacy is worth protecting, so sign up and provide DeleteMe with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts will take it from there. They will send you regular, personalized privacy reports showing what they found, where they found it, and what they removed.
And I would not want Dad to be a victim of identity theft.
No. Imagine if we walked up to some man and we're like, "Hi, Dad," because we didn't know who our dad was anymore.
Yeah, because again, if somebody steals your identity, Dad, that's the guy we're going with. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. Now, at a special discount for our listeners, get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/trips and use promo code TRIPS at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/trips and enter code TRIPS at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/trips, code TRIPS. And I only have to say it 7 more times. That is... Support for family trips comes from Laundry Sauce. Hey, Bashi.
Yes, Zufi.
Bashi, you're a loyal user of Laundry Sauce. Tell us about it.
Well, it's an upgrade for your laundry. It is these laundry pods with these exceptional scents. And I don't mean scents in terms of that it's like one of the 4 senses, 5 senses. Yes, I do. Because it smells.
Wow, this is... You know what you're not making right now? A lot of sense.
Yeah.
But these are some of their scents. Indonesian patchouli, Italian bergamot, Egyptian rose.
It's pronounced?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think it's Italian bergamot.
Italian bergamot. Yeah, I will tell you that 90% of customers reportedly say they now enjoy Laundry Day because of Laundry Sauce. Pashi, are you in the 90 or are you in the 10?
I'm in the 90.
You are? Great.
Mackenzie's in the 90. My favorite, we've got the Australian sandalwood, the Italian bergamot, and the Siberian pine. They're all fantastic, but the first load of laundry I did with the Siberian pine, Mackenzie still will, if I'm wearing a sweatshirt from that wash, she will, have her nose against the sweatshirt and be like, "God, it smells so good."
Here's the thing, you guys. Laundry Sauce isn't just about premium laundry pods. It's a full upgrade for your laundry routine with the fabric softener, dryer sheets, scent booster, and fabric fresher spray. You'll have everything you need to transform your laundry experience from basic to extraordinary. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code TRIPS at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code TRIPS. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. It's time to make Laundry Day the best day of the week.
Here we go.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I'm originally from Indiana, although I now live in Florida. And I love the show because my family has no shortage of chaotic vacation stories. I have been chased by a water moccasin in a lake in Kentucky. Ended up with a 3-month limp and a 6-inch scar after a mountain bike and crash in Colorado. My parents were offered a punch card in an emergency room after their 3rd visit in 1 week, and my sister got chickenpox during our only childhood trip to Disney World. But this one trip I consider to be the catalyst of all the chaos. My sister and I were 4 and 6 years old, respectively, and we were on a 2-week road trip out west with our parents, grandparents, uncle, and a handful of close family friends. We saw Las Vegas, hiked in the Grand Canyon. We saw Mount St. Helens, Crater Lake. We stayed in a hotel, which we later learned employed an active serial killer. We saw Yosemite, Death Valley, had a snowball fight on the mountaintops, and at this point, we were on the coastline off of Redwoods National Park, and my sister and I begged to jump into the freezing ocean. Our parents caved, and we grabbed our swimsuits, and we splashed around in shin-deep waters. We were holding hands, jumping the little waves as they reached the shore, when suddenly and simultaneously, we were down. Our parents were stunned as we rolled like 2 7-Eleven hot dogs out into the Pacific Ocean. All the adults took off after us. Our dad reached my sister first and pulled her up out of the vacuum of the waves, now in about waist-deep water. And our grandmother was the first to reach me. She managed to grab me and pull me up, and even though she's a very strong lady, I was a large child and almost at her height already. Another wave pushed us both back underwater. Our dad got my sister to the beach and came back for me and my momo. We were almost in chest-deep water at this point, but we made it out and up to the shore. And we were fine. We were just a little rattled, and our swimsuits were absolutely full of wet sand. We found out we were caught in a notorious California sneaker wave, which kills roughly 4 people a year. I was very excited to return home with that statistic and to tell all of my friends of my near-death experience. I thought it would make me the coolest girl in school. It did not. But we still love the ocean. My sister and I are both very strong swimmers, but we remind each other frequently to beware of the sneaker waves. Thanks, guys.
Very good. I will say sneaker waves sounds like something mom would complain about all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't want to go in the water. The bad sneaker waves are going to get me.
I was on a trip a couple years ago in Oregon, in Manzanita, which is on the coast. Beautiful, like big, wide, long beach. And was up there with some dudes who live in Oregon. And they were sort of like warned everyone about these sneaker waves. And like I've seen videos. They are terrifying because the ocean will just look totally normal and you'll be on a nice walk, and then one big wave out of nowhere can come up, and if you don't sort of keep clocking the ocean here and there, you can get taken by them. They're gnarly.
Shout out to the scientists who just decided to name this thing what it was.
Oh my God, yeah.
They did not get, you know what I mean? They didn't get complicated. They're like, let's just call it a sneaker wave.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if mom could call it, what do you think? I feel like she would have a slight amendment.
A sneaker peeker wave.
Or maybe I was thinking a sneaker up. A sneaker upper wave, yeah. Sneaker peeker. Well, I think a peeker wave is one that like it comes up and you think it's a sneaker and then it just goes back down.
It goes
like,
down,
you're just taking a look.
Sort of like a water moccasin.
Yeah. By the way, if I got chased by a water moccasin in the water,
oh my God.
Goodbye water forever. At my last, you know what? That would be my last lake.
Yeah. Though the water moccasin story was followed up by a 3-month limp.
Yeah.
From a mountain biking accident. But I thought the limp was going to be from the water moccasin. Like you got bit.
Because then I was like, you didn't get chased. You got caught by a water moccasin.
Yeah.
I was very happy to know. I liked. You know what I liked? Staying in a hotel with an active serial killer. A lot of these, I feel like most everybody's left a message so far. And I know it's only 2 people. Gonna get a call from Netflix to try to buy your life rights for a true crime. I like an active serial killer. Because it's not like, oh, he was a reformed serial killer. No, he was like in the midst of it.
Yeah, he was in the midst of it, not caught.
Because, that's the thing. We always forget. We always rush to like, what is he? Who's he? And like, he's a serial killer. It's like, no, that's what he does on the side. That's a hobby. Everybody do it because you don't get paid for that. You got to have a job too. And nobody realizes how hard it is. Got to stay one step ahead of the law. Meanwhile, also, person in 12 G's like bummed out because the toilet's not working right. It's hard to work in a hotel and also be a serial killer.
Yeah, I wonder which one it was. Yeah. And how you discover that later. Like, maybe did Kayla, was she watching a true crime documentary?
Yeah.
And they were like, and whatever, Bill Richmond was working at the Mountaintop Motel. And she's like, that's what we were there then.
Yeah, we were
there. How do you know for sure?
And that's what a bummer for that serial killer, that the wave was the scariest thing that trip.
Or the water moccasin.
The water moccasin. I do love kids that at 4 and 6 want to go in this. I mean, this one obviously didn't work out, but like I would be very psyched as a parent if in the freezing ocean my kids wanted to go in, because you do want kids who love the water.
Yeah.
And by the way, congratulations to you. At the youngest I ever was, I never had a grandparent who could pull me from the surf.
Yeah.
Our grandparents were always. My grandmothers, by the time I was born, the best they could do with their frail bones would be wave goodbye from the sand.
Yeah. Addie would have done it with, she would have looked great.
Oh, God. That's Addie, our grandmother, not Addie, my daughter, who also.
Yeah. She would have looked amazing. She would have been, certainly not in a swimsuit.
Yeah.
Or if she was, she would have had some like robe, some beautiful robe.
Yeah. Can I side story about my Addie real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So Addie likes to, some days I take all three of them and I drop the boys off and then I double back and drop her off. And then today, Lexi wanted to bring the boys, so I was going to bring Addie. And that means we leave about 20 minutes after the boys. But she really likes going down in the elevator with the boys.
Uh-huh.
So, she gets in the elevator with Alexi and the boys, and she presses the button, and it goes down. And I basically am just waiting in the apartment. I'm getting her stuff together to go. And then I sort of realize it's been like 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And I go down, and Addie is just hanging out with the doorman. And he has a little chair that has sort of like the 9-box cameras as kind of the place where he can chill. And she's just sort of sitting in his chair with her feet up, talking to him.
Yeah.
And people are coming down and talking to her. And then she tells them to go outside because she wants to see him on the camera. And everybody's just in the best mood. And it was I love my New York City kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your building used to only have elevators that the doorman would have to operate, and you just got one that you can get in and press the button. So it's a new thing for your kids that they can do it on their own.
It's incredible. I completely missed how it would be independence for them.
Yeah.
That they're not abusing,
Mm-hmm.
but although, did I tell you about Axel racing Tolia?
No.
So Tolia's my brother-in-law, and Axel said, because Axel's been running down the stairs every morning. And it's not, we're on the 12th floor.
Yeah.
No, it's no small thing for him to run down the stairs.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Axel says, I'm going to beat you up the stairs. And Tolia's like, you can't beat me up the stairs, Axel. And they go into the elevator together.
Mm-hmm.
And then Axel hits every button.
Oh,
and then
clever.
says, I'm going to beat you, and runs up and beats Tolia by like 7 minutes. Because Tolia had to stop. And Tolia walked into the apartment. He's like, I want to kill him.
Yeah.
But you can't really want to kill Axel.
Yeah. That's that has shades of like a magic trick where like early in a magician's act, they're like, I'm going to pick up this glass without touching my hands, and they just like use their mouth or something.
Yeah. Right. Little trick like that.
Yeah. Good for Axel. Smart.
Yeah. This one? This is his, why you say smart. This one he asks me all the time. Are you smart? Here, just answer. Are you smart?
Yeah.
Spell it.
SMART.
Now spell it, IT.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if next time you see him, pretend like I didn't tell you.
Yeah. I'll go IT, and he'll go, whoa.
No, he won't. He'll go, who told you?
Daddy.
All right, what do we got next?
Seth and Josh. This is Ben Burchuk from Larchmont, New York. Longtime listener, first-time caller. I grew up with 2 younger brothers, so lots of your stories and overall sibling-parent dynamics resonate with my family as well. We were fortunate to visit lots of memorable places as kids, but this story was inspired by a recent family trip that happened in our adult years. A few years ago, my dad, my 2 younger brothers Jake and Sam, and our 3 wives took my mom to Italy on a surprise trip for her 60th birthday. Our second day of the trip happened to be on Easter Sunday. Realizing that the Italians probably take Easter quite seriously, we had designated that Sunday as a free day for relaxing and getting over the jet lag. Enter my brother Jake, who had to find a place to watch the English Premier League in the tiny town of Impruneta, where we were staying outside of Florence. No, he didn't want to watch the Chelsea-Manchester United fixture, with title implications that afternoon, but the equally titanic West Bromwich Albion versus Liverpool mid-table clash. Unsurprisingly, there was only one restaurant open in Impruneta on Easter Sunday. It did have a TV, but alas, did not have the required Sky Sports package to show the Liverpool game. Jake's wife Caroline gamely kept up the search and inquired at a nearby hotel if there were any bars in the area that did carry Sky Sports. She was then directed to a place called Casa del Popolo and took off down an alley in pursuit, as kickoff was mere moments away. Did I mention yet that Jake and Caroline had packed their matching Liverpool jerseys for this occasion and were both running around town in what we affectionately call full kit wanker attire? Breathless, they arrived at the Casa del Popolo and somehow managed to communicate a desire to watch their beloved Liverpool game. The rest of us caught up moments later to find them being led into a back room at what appeared to be an Italian community center or VFW hall, past the stares of numerous puzzled elderly Italian gentlemen. Not only did the Casa del Popolo have Sky Sports, it had a giant high-definition projector screen and surround sound. The rest of us, though Premier League enthusiasts, didn't want to waste a beautiful Tuscan afternoon in a dark room and set off for the one open restaurant where we had a fantastic lunch. We returned nearly 2 hours later to catch the final 10 minutes of the game, as my brother demonstratively celebrated Liverpool's 1-0 win and terrified the lone geriatric local man who had been brave enough to share the room with these bizarre Americans. We later learned the history of the Casa del Popolo while telling the story to some Italian friends. Evidently, these houses of the people were the left-wing socialist political centers founded in early 20th century Italy and are, quote, not often visited by tourists, unquote. Yet they certainly still serve a vital purpose, remaining open even on Easter Sunday and showing foreign sporting events. Because of this adventure, Seth's stories about watching the NFL draft and only emerging from the resort hotel room to announce the Steelers' picks really resonated with my family. So my question to the two of you is, outside of the NFL draft and Steelers Super Bowls, what are the greatest lengths you've gone to watch sports while on vacation or a family trip? Bonus points for the amount of aggravation it caused for your significant other, family, and friends. Thanks, guys, from the entire Burchuk family.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know exactly which one comes out. Although, we have a lot of history of being in foreign countries when important sports are happening.
Yeah.
But the worst one, I think, that Alexi would say, and probably Mackenzie would join, is when we were on our Tour Mont Blanc hike in the Alps.
Yeah.
And desperately wanted to see the Holland-Mexico game in the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah.
And we were walking through the most beautiful field of flowers I've maybe ever seen. And they both want to take pictures. And it was like, come on.
You know, it's only a couple hours in a trip to watch a game, like particularly a soccer game or a football game, if you're that kind of person. And if you're able to thread that needle and figure out where to do it, then it's just the best thing in the world. And you can get right back to what you're doing. Did you just spill coffee all over the place?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've certainly gone to some lengths. I've downloaded some like weird websites that promise to give you like free access from from foreign lands to be able to watch sports. I almost feel like the best thing, you're going to disagree with me on this, but the best thing that can happen to you is for you to not be able to find the game.
But know it before you have to waste time looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like almost to be in a place where there's no service. You know, you're not running around like, the ice station zebra or something being like, do you guys have? So yeah, I agree with that. But with that said, that trip was maybe one of the best trips because of that added element. We were on like the most beautiful walks. Mm-hmm. We would have the most lovely lunches. And then also because of the time zone, I think the games were sort of happening in the evening, which so rarely happens here in the States. And
I don't know if that was it a Euro Cup or a World Cup, but if it was in Europe, because those games were sort of at prime time. Like I remember like crossing the border, from Italy to France, and then like being in France in this little French town and having a Switzerland game be on.
2014 was Brazil, so maybe it was that thing of like we were seeing day games, but they were just sort of airing later there. So that was maybe the nice thing. That it wasn't in the middle of our hike. Yeah. And maybe, Posh, you have to find the video of us watching the penalty. We watched the penalty kick where I believe Arjen Robben got fouled and maybe Wesley Sneijder. score the
And we
goal.
were in a restaurant where the game was on, but it was very quiet.
Yeah,
And
it was not a sports bar.
And we did not want to, be those sort of obnoxious Americans who were yelling.
Consummate gentlemen.
Yeah. And we celebrated by hugging each other so tight. They're like any volume that we would have had to our celebration was transferred into how tight we held each other.
Yeah. And it maybe would have been just less distracting if we screamed
Right.
instead of watching two grown men stand up and just like squeeze each other in dead silence.
But yeah, it was
I
so
remember.
exciting.
I mean, we used to go on those when we were in college. There would be ski trips, and I remember once almost ending a friendship because somebody needed to get back early. We had 2 cars, and one car was leaving early, and somebody had to get back early to like study for some massive final. But I had to get back early to watch a Steelers game, and I refused to give up my seat in the car. And just a real long fight. I used to be. I'm a lot healthier now. I have been your brother running around an Italian town trying to find a TV screen, and I feel like those days are over, and I feel a lot better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, also given the opportunity, I suppose if the game's available and you can take 2 hours out of a, 4-day, 5-day trip to watch a game, then that's a good 2 hours. You can mix it up.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
I also remember that thing of watching a game in a beautiful foreign country in 1997 when I was living in Amsterdam, going to the Rembrandtsplein, which is this sort of square with a lot of these bars. And Andrew and Saskia were with me, and we went, because again, it was like so late at night, maybe at 10 p.m. this game started, but it was the AFC Championship game with the Broncos and the Steelers. And Steelers came back and couldn't quite win the game. And I was so upset. Again, this is sort of peak me being so upset about things.
Yeah.
And so upset. And then I walked out, and it was just Amsterdam, and I was like, you know what? And when you walk home from the Rembrandtsplein, it's like over those beautiful bridges.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of peak Amsterdam as well. So
Yeah.
peak me being a jerk, also peak Amsterdam. And I walked out, I'm like, you know what? If I can't be happy being in Amsterdam, I don't know what's wrong with me. And I swear to God, a block later, I'm like, well, it didn't work. Something's wrong with me because I'm not happy.
Well, hopefully you're better now.
I think I am.
Yeah.
I know who the quarterback was for the Steelers in 1997, and I don't know who our quarterback is next year, but that's for a different podcast. All right.
That's for a different podcast. All right. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. The only thing would have been funnier about that story is if his brother and sister-in-law had been West Brom fans.
All right, you say so.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, when they said it was a Liverpool-West Brom game, I immediately was like, well, they're obviously Liverpool fans. No West Brom fan is in Italy being like, we got to go watch ourselves get our ass kicked by Liverpool.
Yeah. They only lost by 1.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by our friends at Maker's Mark. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Sufi.
I don't have to tell you that we're partnering with Maker's Mark to celebrate spirited women like Margie Samuels.
You definitely do not, because I made the trip to the Maker's Mark Distillery in Loretto, Kentucky.
The same Maker's Mark that Margie was the co-founder of?
Absolutely, that's the one.
And I believe you brought a spirited woman with you.
I
on
did.
This trip.
Yeah, my wife, Mackenzie, who, is one of the strongest, toughest gals I know and inspires me with her work ethic every day. She, she moved out to California to work at a barn and do some training, and then that barn eventually was going to get sold, and she struck out on her own and now has this thriving business where she trains people and rides horses, and she works her tail off. It's really something else.
Also, Margie, shout out, original designer behind the iconic red wax dip.
Yep.
The label, and even the Maker's Mark name. You did some dipping while you were there, right, Posh?
I did do some dipping. We were there for a long tour, and we dipped our own bottles, which was very exciting.
You too can celebrate the spirit of women in your life with a free personalized label. To go with the bottle of Maker's Mark, head to makersmarkpersonalized.com and fill in the details in order to create and mail your custom label. Don't forget to grab a bottle of Maker's Mark to go with it. Maker's Mark makes their bourbon carefully. Please enjoy it that way. Maker's Mark Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 45% alcohol. 2025 Maker's Mark Distillery Incorporated, Loretto, Kentucky. Support comes from Helix. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Ufi.
So I've had to sleep in your bed with one of my children twice in the last month. This is your childhood bed.
New Hampshire bed.
Yeah. And this is not a terrible mattress that you had.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, burlap sack filled with hay or anything. It was a nice
Right.
mattress. But I slept there first time with Addie. Had a terrible night's sleep. A little bit, I would say, is the mattress. The other is Addie slept on my head like she was a hat.
Mm-hmm.
But then, look, I'll be honest, it was because of the podcast sponsorship. We got our hands on a Helix mattress.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned it to Mom and Dad, and they said, oh, we'll replace your mattress. So the next time I go back with Axel, I get to sleep on the Helix mattress, and total game changer. Huge leap.
Huge leap. I don't even want to guess how long that mattress has been around that is in the childhood bedroom, but it was time.
It was time, yeah.
And the Helix mattresses, there's such a wide selection, and there's a sleep quiz that you take on their website. Are you a back sleeper, side sleeper, stomach sleeper? I wouldn't even think that's a good idea, but some people are, I guess. And they've got mattresses of varying firmnesses, and you go through this easy series of questions. Easy because you know you.
Yeah, don't think you're going to flunk the sleep quiz.
Yeah, no.
I think some people hear quiz and they panic, but don't worry, you're going to be fine.
Don't be intimidated by it, because it's going to find you the perfect mattress for you to get you a better night's sleep, because what is more important than that?
And I have one of these sleep trackers. And the morning after my first Helix, never happened before, the sleep tracker actually, when I opened it, it just said, something changed, dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So familiar.
Well, I've had it for a while.
Yeah.
Go to helixsleep.com/trips for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/trips for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/trips.
Here we go.
What's next, Sam?
Now we're going to go into a couple questions, and our first one is a perfect segue. You were just talking about Amsterdam, and we have a question about Amsterdam for you guys.
Great.
Hey, good afternoon. I know this is a long shot, but I'm going on spring break with my 2 teenage kids to Amsterdam, and just wondering if Seth and Josh had any recommendations as where to go, what to do, that kind of thing. And I do have a great family trip story I'll call in next time and share that, and maybe even create a new one in Amsterdam. But enjoy the show. Thank you very much.
I love prioritizing and saving the story for next time, because this is important. I think Boom Chicago, especially with teenage sons, if they like comedy, I think that'd be a great place to stop by. It's a very cool theater in a very cool part of town.
Yeah.
It is one of the great, obviously it's famously, a biking city, but it's an incredible city to walk around in. Everything is very close.
Mm-hmm.
The 9 Straatjes, the 9 streets, is a wonderful sort of shopping area to get to. And what are the bridges called? That little bridges area?
I don't know.
Maybe they're not called anything.
Yeah.
The Jordaan is an incredibly beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then, it's tricky because I don't even know how to recommend getting on one of the smaller boats.
I do.
Okay. Listen, This is the most important thing you're going to hear.
Yeah, and I've recommended these guys before, but I think it's those damn boat guys, .com. Just Google those damn boat guys, and they run these little boat tours on these small, maybe 12-person, 14-person boats. You can bring some snacks on there, a couple beers if you want. Although, teenage boys, I don't know, are they about ready to have a beer? But it's such a good way to see the city. Also, Vondel Park is a beautiful park that's just nice to ride bikes through, nice to walk through, nice to get a picnic and go sit in there. Across I guess it's a river that's right behind Central Station, the I, spelled I-J. You can take a ferry over there, and that's where the film museum is now. And there's the Amsterdam Tower, the Amsterdam Toren, I think. And on the top of that, there's a restaurant. There are also these 2 swings that I've not gone on. But if you're a thrill seeker at all, these swings sort of go out over the edge of this tower, and they look terrifying. But that could be fun.
I got shivers even with you saying it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the boat ride, I think, is great. If you have it in you to, go outside of the city, the Efteling is an amusement park in the south of Holland that's pretty special.
Couple hours to get there.
But
it is a incredible amusement park.
Yeah.
And the thing about the tour boats is, look, there are these sort of covered tour boats. You'll see them everywhere. They're very long. I will say never been on one, but they look a lot less fun. They look a lot more sterile than the experience we're talking about, especially when you're going, what do you think? Kokenhof, yay or nay, Posh?
I love it. I love flowers. I love plants. I would think for teenagers, maybe not. The Kokenhof is a tulip festival that happens in the spring, and it's also outside of the city.
But you will walk around and see real-life tulips in the ground like you didn't know could exist.
Yes. There are fields of tulips, but there are also these like manicured gardens of flowers in this like forest. It is a very popular destination for very old people.
Yep.
But we used to go as well, and I've never regretted a trip to the Kokenhof.
Right.
And you can
you
could
hear
like
a lot of the tour guides say, "Who wants to see a tulip before they die?"
You could take a bike on a train and then ride from the train station to get out to the Kokenhof. That's, I feel like, the coolest way to do it. It's a lovely ride. I'd say those are.
You can rent bikes, but just be aware you're biking with commuters. You know what I mean? Like, so do you think people, like, I mean, obviously we go back, we rent bikes because we know how to bike in Amsterdam, but like, would you recommend just jumping into the bike world?
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're a teenager that's, that lives not in an inner city, you probably know how to ride a bicycle pretty well. And
yeah, that's true.
You just sort of fall in line.
You do fall in line. It might even be more dangerous to walk in the city and just be unaware of the fact that like the bike lanes there are like freeways.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? Josh might disagree. I mean, I know he's going to disagree because of just on veganism alone. Febo, Febo.
Yeah.
Food in a wall, coin operated food in a wall. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's good.
Yeah.
But get a croquetin from Febo. It's basically a deep fried gravy.
Gravy and some meat bits in there.
Does that appeal to you?
But it is a unique experience. It's a very very Amsterdam Dutch thing. Febo started on the Ferdinand Bolstraat.
Yeah.
Was the first one, and now they're everywhere. And people do say, also I'm a vegan, but people say the fried chicken is excellent at Febo, and you have to go talk to one of the employees to get that fried chicken. So
I was at the last Boom reunion. I had I realized there was a Febo next door to Boom, and it was the middle of like a reunion party, and I snuck out to the Febo, and then I didn't want to bring it in because I was embarrassed, and so I was standing in an alleyway eating a piece of fried chicken, and Rob Anders Plord, turned his bike around the corner. He saw me, and he just went, "Aw." All right. Well, thank you. I hope if you even do one of those, we would be incredibly flattered.
Yeah. Have a great trip. And when you call back with this follow-up story,
let us know.
Love to know how it went. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is James from Wisconsin, and I have a question that Josh might not like, but we always hear about Seth's SNL stories, but I was more of a Mad TV fan, but yet we never get to hear any Mad TV stories from Josh. You guys have a good day, and I love the pod.
All right. It's a good question. And I apologize that, I hope I haven't been the reason we've been avoiding it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, like Ike Barinholtz, I guess, is maybe the only Mad TV alumni we've had on here.
Yep.
I will say, I mean, there's a bunch of them, but the one that, Ike sort of stands out to me because we were cast together. But on our first show, first live show that we did, Ike and I were very excited. We were very nervous to be on television. We were nervous with the live studio audience, but also we had come out of Boom Chicago semi-recently. And, Boom Chicago has a Friday night, everybody from the cast plays called Heineken Late Night, sponsored obviously by Heineken. And we were drinking a lot of Heineken back then. So to celebrate our first live show, we bought a 6-pack of Heineken and we had it in our dressing room. We shared a dressing room, I think. Or maybe it was just my dressing room that we kept these beers in. And before the show, we opened 2 beers, 2 long necks, and we toasted each other. And we had those just to sort of settle our nerves, but also because it was so exciting for us. And we had a great show. Ike was so funny that night. And when it was all over and we sort of like waved goodbye, we went back into the dressing room and I went to go grab another beer, but Ike had drank all of the beers. He had polished off the 6-pack. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I was nervous too, bro. I was nervous too. And so between every sketch, he was just going back and sucking back another long neck. But those were pretty fun days.
That's pretty fun. I mean, you had a great time and you met you had a lot of lovely friends over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just went to a surprise birthday party with Mike McDonald, and Nikki Sullivan actually called me up and she's like, hey, my husband can't make it to this. Do you want to be my +1? And I saw so many of my old buds from there, Steph Weir, Mo Collins. It was really touching. It was nice to see everybody and reminded me of those good times. So thanks for the question, James.
Great question. Also, not a sponsor, would love him to be Heineken, right?
Oh yeah,
a rational connection to the brand because of the fact that they sponsored that late night show. Also, I think their non-alcoholic beer is really good.
Yeah, we've been doing some non-alcoholic beer too. Once we did Dry January, and then we keep some NA beer in the house now.
I think the Heineken, whatever 0.0 it's called. I mean, I'll get it right when they start paying for ads, but I do a cop, and we'll do stuff like just like that super wordy. Hey, Poshy, are you ever feeling like you just need a little more energy? Anyway, whatever. It's a good beer, and I'm saying it authentically. Also,
yeah, it is weird.
These guys could sponsor us too.
Yeah, Seth is holding up a Dunkin' Donuts cup as he's talking about Heineken beer.
I mean, these are maybe the 2 brands I care the most about. Like, if brands were like, well, there's a war now. It's not countries anymore, it's brands.
You'd go with those? You'd be running with Dunkin' and then
we would make an international pact with Heineken.
Yeah. All right. Last question.
Here's the lasty.
Nathan, originally Kankakee, Illinois, then Chicago, and now East Tennessee. Really just wanted to thank you both for sharing your lives, your family, your friendship, and those of your friends and guests with all of us. It's been a bright spot for me in a difficult season. We moved down to Tennessee right before COVID started, and then had kids and work, got more busy, and have not had as much time to spend with friends as we have in the past. And so while I'm busy working and taking care of little ones and going about my day, being able to listen to your podcast and have that joy and friendship kind of come through has been a real blessing for me. So thank you for sharing that in such a fun and entertaining and wholesome way. And keep up the good work. It's helping those of us juggling multiple things and stretching the day and stretching the dollar to have some moments of sunshine and laughter. So appreciate that. Appreciate you both.
My God, that was just lovely.
Yeah, that's really, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't want to like pat ourselves on the back, but it's,
I know. I almost wanted him to end with a question that made me like him less, you know? He's like, my question is, Josh, are you really just a vegan to act like you're better than people? Would have been just like a big right turn. But that is, I mean, you know, I think sometimes I'm having so much fun talking to Josh and talking to our guests and listening to your stories that I do sometimes forget that people enjoy listening as well. Right. You know, because again, this doesn't feel like work talking to my brother. So it's so lovely to hear that. I love when I'm out and about. It's even more special when Josh and I are together and people tell us they like the podcast. And so thank you for saying that. And we look forward to continuing to be in your headphones. And, you know, it is. This is, even though we've never met, this is hanging out with friends. So thank you for being a friend to us.
Yeah. I was walking into a Trader Joe's the other day and was parked sort of in the subterranean level. And as I was walking in, someone had dropped something or there was like something gross on the ground. And I sort of noticed it last minute and did a quick little duck and dive to get around it. And then this girl behind me who had parked and was coming in, she was like, oh, like good move. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then we're on the stairs together and she goes, are you Poshy? And it's just so crazy to me that like so many people now will just know me as Poshy and that I can get recognized. And she's like, I hope that's not too, you know, inappropriate or whatever. I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Like
that's great. Of course it's not inappropriate. You're Poshy. Yeah. Like the people who call you Josh are the ones that are putting on airs. Another nice moment. So Axel has a wallet, like just like a make-believe, you know. He doesn't carry anything in it. Just every now and then he's like, where's my wallet? And he has.
Yeah. He did tell me recently, you owe me 3 monies.
But one of the things he has in his wallet is a expired global entry card.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we used to get in and out of the country. And anyway, he was going to school the other day. I had Addie, so I'm strolling Addie, 2 kids. We run into another family that has a kid in their class, and so the kids are just scream running through the streets of New York. Mm-hmm. By the way, they do not. They're very good, like stopping. They don't run into the street or anything. Yeah. Although that's not true. Like 3 days ago, Axel saw his cousin and almost got hit by a bike because he saw her and screamed and ran in the street. But Axel was waving his wallet around because he was pretending to be a police officer. Uh-huh. And then we get there and he's like, oh, my card is not in my wallet. And I'm like, yeah, because you waved it around and it fell out. And he's like, go back, retrace your steps. So I do because I want to find it, right? Like,
sure.
I mean, we don't need it technically, but it, you know, I'm walking back the same way anyway. So I've got my eyes on the ground. Don't find it.
Mm-hmm.
Get an Instagram message from someone saying, hey, I know this is weird, but I think I found your son's global entry card.
Mm-hmm.
And so I connected with this person, but just so nice. And they were like, I'll leave it with my doorman. And then I put together, when I went and picked it up, I put together like a tote bag with like an SNL coffee, not an SNL, sorry, late night mug and hat and stuff to thank her. But when I went in, I was with the boys and we walked into this building and the doorman sees me and he goes, oh man, you and I, we're the only 2 people. And I'm like, what? He goes, Steelers, Red Sox. And I'm like, oh man, that's amazing. And we're talking and then he goes, well, that's cool, man. Thank you for stopping by. And I was like, well, that's not why I'm here. And I just liked that this doorman just thought like somebody got word out.
Yeah, that I'm the other one.
And so he came. You know what? Who's a good guy? Seth Meyers. Heard we like the 2 favorite teams. Stopped by, said hi. But anyway, I got my global entry back. But
great.
Acts of kindness.
Acts of kindness.
Which that last message was. So thank you for that.
Real quick story also. We were at the LA Arboretum this last weekend. There was a Barks and Brews event. You could bring your dog. And there was like a beer tent. Mackenzie's mother was in town. So we went out there and we were sitting in the grass having a beer with our dogs at some point. And these two parents and their kid are walking around just sort of like scanning the grass. They've clearly lost something. And Linda, Mackenzie's mom's like, what are you guys looking for? And this woman goes, Porsche key. And it's like, you didn't have to say Porsche.
No.
You could have just said car key. If you said car key, I might have wanted to help you. But when
you
like,
say Porsche key if someone's looking through a giant bowl of keys.
Yeah, just say car
it's not
key.
like, oh, we saw a Buick key, but that's probably not yours.
Yeah. And like, look, I don't root for anyone to like lose their car key, but if anyone has to lose it, part of me hopes it's the person who's got the Porsche.
We were at one of the kids' friend's house, and Addie lost this little bracelet. And this is a year ago, so she was 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you guessing how old she was a year ago?
I'm just doing math. But again, I'm just saying
not a lot
she's
of numbers.
2 because then Alexi was like, I've had that bracelet since I was 4 years old. And so we had to get like a metal detector. We did, by the way, this does not have a happy ending. We didn't find it. But like the amount I wanted to be like, so maybe this precious artifact shouldn't have been on our 2-year-old's wrist in the middle of like, I think it was like fall. It was just leaves everywhere.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing of did you see where she went? Like, and I'm like, what? Do you mean like, can I family circus a dotted line across this lawn? No. Well, thank you again for all the stories. Thank you for the questions. I feel like Larry's going to be fine with it, which is his highest score.
It's fine. It goes all the way up to fine.
It goes from massively disappointed to fine.
If you want to send a story,
you know
or
what?
question,
I just hope we can get it out of him. What he thought. Okay, go ahead, Pashi. Fill him in.
Yeah, if you want to send a story or a question in for next time, head to speakpipe.com/familytripspod. That's speakpipe.com/familytripspod. We would love to hear your stories, your questions, your names. So I can reference them in songs. And thanks everybody.
Thank you.